Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another little section here of Talk to the Animals. And today, Viv and I were going to talk about what would you ask your cat if you could? And basically, I'm sorry, but Viv is not feeling well today, so I am by myself, and you have to just do with me. And I do actually hope that there will be some of you watching that do have some questions about what you would like to ask your cat. But I do, of course, I had my own cats in my own life, and also I have some friends who have cats, and so sometimes I do get to hear what people would like to know about what's going on with their cat or what is happening. So one of the things that a lot of people ask is, why are you not eating the food that I'm putting in front of you? Why are you so finicky with the food that I am putting here? And it's really interesting to me, like how much cats are really peculiar about the food that they are eating, but also maybe they're teaching us something here. Because one of the things that I have always believed in is in a variety of food that we should feed our animals. The pet food industry, of course, has an interest that you become a very loyal customer to their particular food. And so if you are, you know, buying something from them, they want you to come back and buy from them again. And so they will do whatever they can to make their food the most attractive. And also to make you believe that if you feed your animal other foods, that this is not good for them. But for me personally, it's always been a very interesting phenomenon to basically decide what is the best food for my animal and then feed them that food for the rest of their lives. Because is there ever really a perfect food for any body? Is there a perfect food? So for me personally, I would not want to have to eat the same thing every day. Like if you told me the best food for me was to eat, you know, 5 carrots and a potato and 6 beans and, a handful of rice every day, would I want to do that for the rest of my life? Probably not. And yet, that's what we're doing with our animals. We feed them exactly the same food. A lot of us do, feed them the same food. We found the food, we like it, they like it, and we just keep on feeding it. But no food can be perfect for the body in a sense that there is no perfect nutritional balance. And so some bodies might actually start to respond to that same food that they're getting in a certain way, like not staying healthy, maybe getting too much of something or too little of something, whatever it might be. So even if you're switching within the brand, let's say you're switching flavors or you're switching, from one formula to another, let's say you have switching from the everyday formula to a senior diet, all of that, to me, why not actually go and get the smorgasbord of things? And it's not that I'm saying have 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 different bags of food at home, but what if you actually every time looked for a different brand of food and you were willing to rotate around? There's also, so cats can be one of those finicky eaters that are allowing us to actually be in the question and questioning what their body desires to eat that particular day. So you can really be in the question body. So you could go into the pet food store and really just be standing there by the shelf and ask your cat's body, what would be a contribution to you? What would you like to eat? And so allowing yourself to become aware of that. Now, I know too that some pet food companies created so that they put things into the food that almost create a little bit of an addiction to that food. So they have some, taste enhancers in there that are not necessarily also the most healthy for your pet. But please do your own research and please do whatever works for you. This is not me telling you what you should do, which I don't like doing that. I would like to just entice you to maybe do a little bit more research and see what actually would be a contribution for your pet. And of course, financially, there are huge differences between the foods that you can buy, let's say, at a grocery store and the foods that you can buy at a pet food store that might be made from different ingredients or have been put together in a different way. But please look at that too. Is this going to enhance my animal's body? Is this going to give that body more longevity? Is this going to make this body healthier? So ask some questions, because if you're just looking at the amount of money you're paying, that might not really be an accurate measurement, because you have to sort of consider too, if your animal is eating a bit healthier, do they have less vet visits? For example, just as a thought. So hopefully I do see your comments here. Sometimes it doesn't work, but what else would you like to ask of your cat? So, we covered a little bit the food thing. A lot of people also have this weird idea that cats don't show their love in the same way that dogs do. Dogs are usually very cuddly. They come running up to you. They wag their tails. They're like, yay, hello, hi, how are you doing? And cats are usually a bit more reserved. And so a lot of people think, oh, does my cat actually love me? So what if love could be expressed in so many different ways? And, a cat that is content and that is happy has a certain energy about it. And so what if you actually also here started to tune into the energy of the cat more than into the actions of the cat? Because even with cats, some are a bit more cuddly and they're happy to sit on your lap. Others are a bit more standoffish and they don't like to necessarily be touched unless they ask for it. But still, that doesn't mean that they don't like you or that they are not willing to be around you, but they're just a little bit less cuddly. So what if that was okay? And what if you could look at that not from, oh, they're not showing me that they love me, but more like, oh, what kind of cat am I dealing with? And can I be okay with that? So, what if it was a little bit different? And what if it wasn't a problem? You can always ask your cat, hey, is there a problem? And there will be an energy if there is a problem. Also, of course, if you do have a cat that pisses in the house all the time, there is most likely something going on, especially if it's a behavior that the cat started to develop. Animals do know how they get our attention. So if your cat all of a sudden starts peeing around in the house and is no longer using the litter box, it's definitely time to ask some questions. What is going on? Is there any change in the environment that just occurred around that time? Did you make some kind of decision at that time? Or did you introduce another family member at that time? Whether that's a person or another animal, like what might be going on? Cats do have that intensity and they do know how they get our attention, and peeing, they do know they get our attention when they start to pee. For example, when I grew up, we had a cat that didn't like visitors in the house. And so every time we had a visitor, she would pee on my mom's pillow in the bed. Every time. So at some point, we recognized that. And we actually, because at first we were like, what's going on here? We don't know what's going on. And then we realized, oh, it's every time somebody comes over, she's not enjoying that. Okay, cool. So then we started actually looking at, what was it? Was it just somebody coming over? Or were they trying to approach her? What was actually going on? So then we realized if we basically isolated her in a particular room, she didn't do it. She was happy with that. She just did not want to be approached by anybody. She didn't want to be like coaxed into maybe being touched and all of that. So we recognized that, and the peeing stopped. So if you do have a peeing cat, I want to invite you to start to really observe, when is that behavior happening, and not come to conclusion. A lot of times we're coming to conclusion about what is creating that, and we start to make up all these things. Oh, my cat came from a shelter, and now this and now that. But if you are actually willing to be still with your cat and just actually sit down, take a couple of breaths, maybe close your eyes and just tune into your cat. She doesn't have to be right next to you. She could be running around and doing things even outside. What if you took that moment and you just be present with your cat and allowed yourself to just ask from absolutely no point of view, from no preconceived idea, from no conclusion about what might be going on, but just ask the cat to please let you know what is causing her to pee outside of the litter box. So, what is causing that? And just drop into that energy, be present, and allow yourself to receive whatever it might be. And you may not get any words, you may not get like an information per se, but you will perceive an energy. And please acknowledge that. You will perceive an energy, even if you don't have words for it. Please don't brush that away. Please don't say, I don't know how to do this. I don't know. I'm terrible at this. I can't do this. Please don't go there. Just be present and allow yourself to receive. And when some preconceived ideas come up, it usually starts your brain racing. Those are not information. That's usually what your ideas are, your thoughts are. So just sit there and go, okay, away with those thoughts. What's actually going on? No, away with those thoughts too. What's actually going on? And if you're not getting any information, then just ask the universe, okay, thank you. I actually now acknowledge that I did receive energy, but I don't have words for it. Universe, can you please help me to put words to this information? And then be patient and let a few days go by and see if all of a sudden something really just pops and you're like, oh, that's what this is. And usually when you do hit that, whatever it is, it creates a bit of ease in your world. It opens a door. It sort of has a bit of lightness to it. Even if the topic doesn't have lightness, it has this lightness of space. It has this lightness of, you kind of relax into that information. That's usually the information that is coming from the animal. There is a certain space with it. So when you really start to think very hard about something, it usually has a bit of that contractive energy, because when we're trying to make something logical, we think about all these different things that are going on, so we're just contracting. So in order for you to really stay in that spaciousness, that's when you have to basically choose or see, what is my thought and what is actually information that I'm receiving. And please, guys, you know how to do this. It just takes a little bit of practice. You haven't been playing with this a whole lot, but all of us are capable of receiving energetic communication. We just haven't been practicing. It's like learning a new language. You start with some basic vocabulary, and then you get a bit more, you get a little bit better every day at knowing what is the vocabulary for something. And so here it's an energetic vocabulary that you haven't been really allowing yourself to have. But you do all have it, because you all have these moments when you, for example, walk into a room and you're like, oh, this feels strange. Something feels off. Something feels weird. Or even like when you are with somebody, you might say, oh, I don't feel good. I don't know what's going on here, but I don't feel good. So you are receiving energetic communication all the time. You just haven't been practicing to put words to this and to have it be more as a definable thing. So I would encourage you to use your cats for that. They are amazing facilitators in practicing because they are sometimes a little bit harder to understand than dogs. They don't have the same way of living with us that dogs have. And that's why there are cat people and dog people, because, some people just enjoy the energy of cats more and other people enjoy the energy of dogs more. And then, of course, there's people that love them all and they are happy to have either one in their household. I think I saw a question somewhere, and I don't know where right now, but somebody I think was asking also like, hey, my dog is not friendly with my cat. What can I do with that? And this is going to be an interesting one. One of the things that I can suggest is to really ask the dog, or not really ask the dog, but to be aware, like, is this dog really just aggressive with cats because he doesn't understand them? Or is this something that he's been practicing for a long time? Like, has he killed cats before? That would be one place where I would be a little bit more apprehensive. But if he's just a dog that just doesn't understand cats, their body language is very different. And, a lot of times dogs just have to get used to that. And also cats have to get used to dogs. They just have a little bit of a different way of communicating with each other. And so cats also do know that dogs can harm them, but also the other way around. I mean, cats can be harmful to dogs as well, depending on size and all of that too. But the way that I have done it was, first of all, my demand for all my animals in my household is that they are friendly with each other. And so I have that very strong demand and I will enforce that in a way. But I also know that sometimes dogs can be very apprehensive with cats. So what I did when I first introduced my cat was that I would hold my cat in my arm and then I would let the dog sniff his bum. So I would just hold him in my arm, protect him, but then have his bum exposed, like under my elbow, and then bend down so the dogs could sniff his bum. And that was the first thing that I would allow them to do. And I would keep them separate because also, when I had my cat, at first he was a kitten. And so, I was aware that he could be a very easy snack for one of my dogs. And so, wouldn't allow them to be unsupervised, wouldn't even let my kitten run around with the dogs because, with 3 dogs, big dogs, and a kitten, I didn't desire for the kitten to get harmed. So I would really, every day, I would introduce them, but I would make it so that I was in charge, I was in control, and I could also, basically correct the dog if he was having a reaction to the cat. I could correct that behavior. And so over time, it took me probably about 3 or 4 months before I felt like it was okay to let the cat walk around amongst the dogs, where I felt like he was safe and the dogs wouldn't harm him. And then gradually, I would also allow them to be by themselves without me supervising. So, you have to follow your own knowing with that. Please don't go by anyone else's point of view. Please trust you. You know your animals, you know your dog, you know what's required here. So you have to see what actually works. But part of it is that you energetically make a demand. And so, what is your demand? If your demand is that everybody has to be friendly, not friends with each other, please don't ask your animals to be friends. That's rude. I don't ask you to be friends with someone. So, please don't ask them to be friends with someone, but they can be friendly. So, please, that is something that you can demand, that you can be as an energetic way of being with them. And then that way you can be like, hey, this is my demand for this household and I will enforce it. And so, and however that looks, and please, it doesn't have to be with brutality or anything like that, but how can you basically correct your animals, and also the cat from swatting at the dogs. Please correct your cat with that too. You don't want to have your animals be aggressive with each other. That is not something that I would tolerate. So friendly, 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 friendly. Keep asking them to be friendly. Cool. Well, I hope this helped a little bit, and I didn't see anybody's comments here. I'm really sorry. I'm on StreamYard, and it does put comments, so I'm not sure if you did comment on Facebook, but I don't see any comments here. So hopefully you got a little bit out of this, and hopefully I was able to give you just a little bit of a sense how much fun it can be to play with your animals and with the energies. And if this conversation is intriguing, please go to talktotheanimals.com and you get a little bit more information there. There's also classes that are being facilitated around the world with that. So, and apparently somebody's at my hotel door. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you again next time when Viv and I will be back with another intriguing conversation.